This is the case of Ronie Parrot. She disappeared August 25th, 2015, and was found February 13th of 2016.
And so tonight, what we're going to be dealing with is we're talking with one of her daughters, Maya Vaudrin. And Maya lives in Virginia. We talked last week with Tila Law, her other daughter, but we'll be talking tonight with Maya Vaudrin.
It'll be interesting to know and get Maya's perspective of what she thinks may have happened, or just to hear about her mother.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. We hope that you enjoy the interview. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook. It's Into Darkness NW on Facebook.
Or Gmail. We have a Gmail. It's intodarknessnw@gmail.com.
And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay updated on our updates. We're releasing a video about once a week right now and on this case, and we would love for you to follow along. And please do us a favor. If you know of anything about this particular case, please message us and let us know. We would like to talk to you. All right, well, let's get right into the interview with Maya. I will tell you, I am kind of missing my coffee right now. If anybody knows of some good coffee, please tell me. I would really like some coffee.
Let us know.
All right, so let's check out this interview with Maya. A little bit of information about your mom. As far as, from your perspective, what was she like? What was some hobbies that she had? Tell us some of that stuff.
My mom was great. Me and her were really, really close. Probably out of everyone, we were the closest because we were a lot alike. She was really, really big in the music scene. Like, she loved her death metal and like all that good stuff. Like, but she was like really sweet and generous. Like, I know of times that like I knew that she hadn't eaten, but somebody needed food more than she did, and she would give them that food knowing she hadn't eaten that day.
Oh, wow.
Just because she wanted to make sure everybody else was taken care of. Like, she was probably the most pure soul I've ever seen.
Okay, that's good.
So what is a favorite memory you have of her?
Honestly, in the morning times, like when I'd get up, she'd be sitting at the computer listening to music, and it was usually like Godsmack or Disturbed, something like that, a little bit heavy. And she'd be sitting there drinking her coffee, just like bobbing along, listening to the music. And she'd have like such a smile on her face because like in that moment she was in her own little world, she was happy.
That's cool.
So you say she was in the music industry. What exactly did she do?
She worked at the knitting factory. I can't remember if it's technically Boise or Nampa, but
Boise.
Like it's a little concert hall, And I believe she used to bounce for them, but she also like helped a bunch of people in the music scene, like help promote them and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like, she was very locked into the local heavy metal scene. Like, it was them actually that we had a fundraiser benefit when she was found, and they all put together a like little show to help raise money to like cremate her and all that. And they put it all on, and it was people that she had sat there for years and helped promote it and everything. It was really cool.
So just out of curiosity, when you say she helped promote him, like what all did that entail?
She would like get their name out on Facebook and like try to get people listening to them, or if she knew like somebody that did artwork, she would ask if maybe they would like draw logos and stuff like that. She just tried helping every way she could,
Okay. Very good. Seems like she
kept. Is that for like the local bands?
What was that?
Was that for like the local bands?
Yeah, it was like the locals. Like the one I remember off the top of my head, because they did a lot with her art ones, was Rise of the Fallen and Criterium.
Okay.
Criterium they were really, really close, and I believe it was them that like put all that together for that show.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
If there was one thing that you would want us to know about your mom, I mean, like I said, we never had the privilege of meeting her or knowing her. If there was one thing that you would want us and the people that that will watch this to know about her, what would that be?
Honestly, probably that, because I'm sure as you found out, she's had a past with like abuse problems and stuff like that. But she had really turned her life around, and she was like trying and everything. And I feel like half the reason her case hasn't had like hasn't been solved is because they don't really view her as a changed person, you know. But
Mhm.
anyone that knew her knew she was, and I guess that's one thing that I feel like everybody deserves to know, you
Yeah,
know.
definitely, definitely agree with you on that. So you said your relationship with your mom was pretty good.
Yeah, we were super close. Like I called her every day.
Okay, all right. Um, so so you said that she had had some run-ins with the law with abuse
Yeah.
with abuse and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but tell me a little bit about her friends that she had at the time.
As far as I know like we talked a lot and she would tell me everything. And I didn't or I thought she'd tell me everything, you know.
Yeah.
But the friends that I did know, like they were all really sweet, or they're all really sweet. Like they even took me in and after would check in on me and make sure I'm okay. Like she surrounded herself with mostly good people, but she was also the type that like even if somebody was struggling and they weren't such a good person, she would try to like fix them, you know. But like whenever I talked to her, unless there was something going on, you know, she didn't mention any bad, you know. It was mostly just enjoying being in the music scene and all the cool people that she had met and all that, you know.
Um, circling back to something you said a little bit ago, you said that she tried to fix people. Um, was there ever any time when maybe that was not where it wasn't appreciated or it was met with resistance?
I'm sure there was because there's a lot of people, because, like, depending on what was like going on, you know, say like if they had a drug problem, you know, not a lot of people like want to quit when they're in that life, you know. So I'm sure that there was
Mhm.
resistance here and there, but I couldn't tell you like who would have been resisting or anything like that.
Oh,
She
that's fine.
even though we were close, I feel like she, being her child, she still did like protect a lot of what I did know, you know?
Mhm. Well, I
Yeah.
heard that she would let people stay with her. Did you know about any of that?
Oh yeah, I always used to say that she had like a halfway house for like lost children
Okay.
because anybody knew that they could knock on her door and be like,
Mhm.
I need help, and she would open up her house.
Mhm. Do you know if she had a boyfriend?
Not that I know of. She never mentioned anything.
Did, did you know anything about a guy named Dave?
That was everybody was saying that they were like on again, off again, and I had met him a couple times, but like I don't think they were together at that time, you know.
Okay.
But she was around him a lot, like because that was one of the people she was trying to like fix and help, you know. And everybody said that like he wasn't that great of a person and like really into like that lifestyle, like heavy user and all that. But I only met him a couple times when I was younger, so I don't really remember him.
Okay. Okay.
But that's what I've heard too, is that like people are suspecting him, but
What do
I
you
don't.
what do you think about that?
I mean, I could see how that could be a possibility because, you know, when you're using, like, you're not really in your right mind, you know? So anything is possible, but I don't know. You know, like I live all the way out in Virginia.
Mhm.
So the only thing I really know is what she'd tell me over the phone. So I didn't get to see anything firsthand or how he had become anything like that. So that's not really something I can speak for sure whether I think he did it or not, because I don't know all the information. But it anything's possible, you know.
Do you so do you know if she was having any trouble with anybody?
I don't know of any. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm probably one of the last people to talk to her, because the last conversation I had, she was at a gas station. So and it was around that time. So I'm probably the last one that did talk to her. And she seemed fine. She seemed happy. She was just running errands, you know, doing whatever she was doing. But she didn't seem stressed or anything like that, like something was wrong.
So you alluded that possibly the case, you had been told the case was closed. Do you remember who told you that?
I don't remember who it was.
So you said you spoke to her last. She was at a gas station, and you said you believe that was the night that she went missing.
Yeah, because it was around that same time, and it was like a little bit later at night, because I was calling to tell her that I was headed to bed because I had just gotten off work. Because
Yeah,
I called her every night when I got off work.
I think the reports that we saw said that she was last seen at a Maverick at 11 o'clock at
Yeah.
night. So do you know if she was with anybody?
She didn't say when I was talking to her if that was the night, you know. She was by herself as far as I knew. But she had said that like she had bumped into somebody that she knew at the store, you know. But I don't think she had like gone there with them.
Did she say who she bumped into?
Nah, she was just like, hey, one of my friends or some of my friends are here. One of my friends, I can't remember, is here. Let me call you back. And I never got a call back.
You know, I think the only other question I really have is if you knew of anybody who you know that maybe was a suspicious person in her life at that time, or if it was a possibility that I know you'd mentioned that she'd made some changes and turned her life around. If there was maybe a possibility someone from her past, you know, we have heard the rumors of course, like you alluded to, that about the one person possibly being a suspect, but just wondering if there's any other possibilities as well. So
I mean, honestly, it could really be anything, you know, because like you said, like somebody from the past, like her lifestyle back then wasn't the greatest. Like she definitely made poor choices, but she did turn around. But you never know, like if those are gonna come back and like get you, you know. It could have been something like that, you know. Hell, it could have even been some random person for whatever reason, you know. Like people are unpredictable for the, I feel like.
Definitely.
do you know if she was missing anything that she owned when she was found, like maybe a wallet or anything?
um I don't know for sure.
Okay.
My grandma, when they found her and all that, my grandma didn't really want to tell me too much information, even though I tried to get her
Yeah.
to. So I don't really know.
Okay.
I've been like trying to figure out a way to find out, but like nobody really cares, you know.
Yeah.
Or
Well, we have a
something.
request in for for the records. I don't know if we'll get them, but we did put in a request to see if they would give us anything.
Do you know, I'll ask you this. Do you know who filed the missing persons report for your mom?
Um, I don't know who did the initial report. I almost want to say it was my grandma, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
It could have been somebody down in Boise. I'm not sure. I can ask. I'm sure she
Okay.
I know right before all that happened, my mom had been living with her or something like that. So she might know a little bit more on that, because with me being out here, like the relaying messages and trying to get people to actually, tell me what's going on and what's not is kind of a little bit difficult at times.
I'm sorry. I want to clarify something. Did you say that you thought that your mom was living with Tila at the time?
A little bit before that time, like
A little
she
bit
had
before.
just like moved out or something like that, but it hadn't been like too long that she had moved out. So Tila might know a little bit more because she was around her a lot more.
Do you know if she'd moved out? Do you know who she if she was maybe living by herself or maybe living with somebody else? Or
I'm not sure, honestly. I was working a lot at the time, so usually like when I get off work or something, I'd be calling to check in and let her know I was okay because she really worried about me living out here on my own.
yeah,
So unless it was like a free day where I didn't have to work, I didn't really get to like divulge in like long conversations.
understand. Well, that was a really interesting interview with Maya Vajran, Ronnie's daughter from Virginia. So tell me, Misty, what's the first thing that kind of stuck out to you?
Her talking about her mom's generosity and the willingness to let people stay with her, and she seemed to be a very friendly and outgoing person.
I seem to feel like that a lot of people are saying this. And this is what Tila told us last week, that she was a generous person. Maya seems to confirm that. It sounds like somebody I would have liked to know and meet. So I'll tell you, the one thing that kind of stuck out to me that I related to a lot was when she was talking about how her mom would zone out to music. When she was saying, she's sitting there in the morning and she's just kind of, drinking her coffee and she's like listening to the music, sometimes heavier stuff, and just kind of zoning out to it. I got to tell you, that's like totally neat because usually it's when I'm driving,
Right.
So like I'm like driving and I'm like listening to the music and kind of jamming out to it. I am zoning out to it, so I totally get what she was talking about, and I totally relate to that character.
And it sounds like that was one of her favorite memories, to see her mom doing that.
Yeah.
To know that there wasn't, like, maybe she didn't have a care at that moment, just enjoying her day.
And music can do that for you. Music can do that for you. It can kind of like relax you. You can get into it and just really feel like there's just not a lot of care in the world.
Yeah.
And it seems like from what we've learned in this interview that music was important to her.
Right.
What was she saying about her working at the knitting factory?
She worked at the knitting factory as a bouncer. It sounds like, from what I gathered from both daughters, she was doing bouncing, but the most important part was her promotion of local bands. And
Yeah, she
that
seemed to
seemed to
really
be a
like.
passion.
Yeah, she had a passion for local bands, and still not entirely sure what all she did. Maya said it sounded like maybe she did some Facebook promotion on stuff, and maybe try to make some connections if she knew people who could help the bands out. It seems to be what it sounds like she was doing, but definitely a passion for her. So
Definitely liked music and people.
yeah.
You're on crowds of people.
Once again, I can relate to that.
Right.
I can totally relate to that. I love to be around people. So some things about the interview that I took away that I thought was interesting is she was talking about, once again, how Ronnie had those abuse problems in the past as far as substance abuse. But, once again, look, that doesn't mean that Ronnie is any less of a victim, right? I mean, we get this kind of a stereotype idea sometimes that because somebody is into drugs or whatever their lifestyle was, that all of a sudden they're less of a person, and their murder or the crime that has committed against them is not as important, but it really is. And I think that's something that we need to remember,
We do.
that she's still a victim.
Because even though she had those problems, she still has daughters.
Yeah.
She
And
sounds
granddaughters.
like, and grandkids.
Yeah.
She still had family and friends that loved her, and so I don't think that matters at the end.
And at the end of the day, I mean, who of us does not have issues? If we were looked into, and people would be like, well, I don't know that about you. That's kind of weird.
So then that brings me to the type of people she was hanging around with. If she did have these problems, because Mia talked about her letting people stay with her. I wonder who they were. You know, we know that this was a homicide.
Yeah.
So we know that there was somebody that had a reason to do this in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder who those people were.
Yeah, yeah. And is there some kind of a motivation there? You know, she's letting people stay with her. Okay, was there a problem that went wrong?
Right.
Because sometimes, look, the reality is when you have roommates, a lot of times, I have seen this so many times. You move in or you're living together, you think, oh, we're such great friends. This person's going to be a great roommate. And then like after 2 days, you're just like, you didn't clean the dishes again.
Right.
I want to kill you.
Tempers can flare, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so the question is that was there maybe a problem with one of the people that had been staying with her, you know?
It sounds like she stayed with Tila for a while, and then I wonder where she went after. Like, I wonder what her living situation was after Tila's even, because was she staying with someone?
Mm-hmm.
And who was it?
Yeah, that'd be good questions to find out. So, you know, if you're watching this video and you know something about the case, you know, look, if you didn't know anything about her living situation at the time, we would love to hear about it.
Yes.
But yeah, wondering about what her living situation was like at the time, you know, and you know, kind of going back to what Maya was saying as far as the type of people that she was around, and this kind of plays into her generosity. Maya said she was always trying to fix people, and that some of the people that she was hanging around with, that she was trying to get out of the drug lifestyle, but she was also trying to fix people that were still involved in it. And so that's another possible motive you have to look into also.
Right.
Because look, I've known people who have been addicted to drugs and they want zero help sometimes.
Yeah.
And you try and get them help and they are just really resistant, and sometimes they'll get really cranky.
Yeah, they only want help if they're ready to have help. Otherwise, they're not going to want help.
Yeah. And so was it a possibility that maybe somebody felt like she was meddling into something that wasn't her business, and they just got enough, and okay, I'm done with it. This is we're done with this.
You know, then we talked with Tila, and she mentioned Dave, and so did Maya. It sounds like that is somebody that's been in her life for a long time. It'd be interesting to know what he has to say about what Ronnie was possibly doing.
Yeah, and so and I think Tila had mentioned that they were kind of an on again, off again boyfriend. Maya confirmed that Dave had been involved in her life for a while. So, you know, we would love to find out a little bit more about his perspective of things as far as, you know, what and what he knew about what was going on at the time.
Right.
And speaking of what was going on at the time, what did you think about what Maya had to say about the phone call?
The one where she was in Maverick and she thought she was the last person that she talked to.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know who she ran into. And if that really was the last, like if she was the last person, like if it was the same day, I mean, it'd be interesting to know who did she run into.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like she ran into someone.
And I think that here's the thing that is going to be important to this case is finding out who that was. Because that very well could be the last person to have seen her alive.
Right.
And so I don't know if the police were able to ever figure out who it was that she'd spoken with. But we would absolutely love to speak with anybody who saw her on August 25th, 2015, and especially if it's at this Maverick gas station that was on 27th Street. Is that correct?
27th and Main, I believe.
So I'm just going to put that out there. If you are watching this and you were there at that Maverick station at 11 o'clock p.m. on the 25th of August 2015, we would love to talk with you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, so if that's accurate information, you know, we know that Tila said that she'd called her a few days before because they'd had a fight over some license plates that got taken off of, ironically, Dave's car.
Yeah.
But then she tried to call her again after that, wasn't able to get in touch with her. But Maya says she thinks that she talked to her that day, that night. And so if that is accurate information, that's going to be really important information. I did want to mention, you know, we had talked about that with Maya that we had tried to get the police records, and you know, unfortunately, we were not able to get the police records or the autopsy records because it's still an open police case, and so the detectives don't really want to do an interview either. We thought that would be really kind of a neat thing, but we are able. We do have contact with with the police department. So any information that we come up with, we can pass on to them and share with them as well. So
I do think the one good thing though is Mia had thought maybe the case was closed. So we do know that it's not a closed case. So at least we have that confirmation because that's why they won't share that information.
that's right.
So
That's right. And so knowing that it's an open case means that it's still at least to some degree being investigated by the police as
Yes.
well. So, all right, any final thoughts on this interview with Maya Valdrin?
no, I just think it was good to hear from her daughters, and it was a joy to have conversations with two of her daughters.
Yes. And so next week we're going to be interviewing one of her friends, somebody who said that was one of her best friends and has maybe a little bit of an insight into what's going on with Ronnie at that point in time in her life, not from the perspective of the daughters, but from the perspective of a friend. And sometimes that will be a little bit different, a little bit different how they see things. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Guys, look, at the end of the day, if you're watching this, it's our goal and our hope to get people talking and to try and get this case solved. We want to see justice for Ronie Parrot. We want to see justice for her family. So if you know anything at all, please message us. And you can even remain anonymous. We can figure out a way to get your information that you've given to us, anonymously and also to the police. We want to see justice for Ronnie and for her family.
Yes.
So, all right, well, that's it. We'll hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, please like, share, and subscribe. And please also like and follow our Facebook page, Into Darkness NW. And if you have any tips or anything like that, or you'd like to have some information for us, intodarknessnw@gmail.com. All right, have a good night, and don't forget the coffee.
Yes.